Last Flight from Manila by Austin Martin, Gina Schoper, Alexandra Gross, Taylor Croft, and Jessica Jutras. Narrated by Riya Rai. Chapter 8. Deciding to give our situation some more time to unfold, we thought about what to do with that time. Josh had suggested 2 excursions. The first was a guided tour through the sunken Japanese wrecks from World War II, which were filled with multitudes of colorful fish and coral. Here, we snorkeled through the historical and ghostly ruins. Hiking Mount Darala was his second suggestion, and we decided to do this on our second day in Quran after Josh left. We hired a cyclocab, a 3-wheeled motorbike, which allowed us to be driven up to the scenic, winding dirt road to the start of the hike. The trail wasn't technically a tourist hike, but rather a service trail that leads to a cell tower. It wasn't manicured for the tourist eye and had random objects scattered about along the way. The hike proved to be challenging, but when we reached the top and towered above the Coron Islands, we were greeted with exquisite views that made every strenuous moment well worth it. As we reveled in the surreal vastness of this quiet trail, our conversation often circled back to the conversation we'd have with Josh. We couldn't shake the worry that we might end up stuck somewhere far away from home. On our 3rd day in Coron, we decided to head to an area of the wrecks near Lusong Island. It was a spot that was known for phenomenal snorkeling. The water was a sparkling emerald green, and as I looked below the surface into it, I could see a plethora of fish swimming around the old ship beams covered in hard corals. This excursion distracted us from all the negative thoughts surrounding the coronavirus for a few wonderful hours. We swam and laughed and made memories that we'll never forget. A feeling of giddiness came over me, and for the first time in several days, I felt unrestrictedly joyous. When we got back into town, we devoured a local buffet, made conversation with the sociable crowd we immersed ourselves in, and slept well until the early morning light. We had originally decided to come to Coron in an attempt to escape the threat of the virus in populated cities, despite knowing some of the friends we'd made were starting to go home. However, around the same time we arrived in the beach town, speculation had started that borders all around the world might start to close to limit the spread of the virus. We regularly checked the news and Googled flights home while in Coron, though we also tried to, without success, to shake the entrapment of our unease. Although we tried to ignore it, we felt like we no longer belonged here. By the end of a late breakfast on our 4th day, we had already checked our phones for news updates several times and found ourselves getting antsy. Emma had just asked if we should go to a beach to take our minds off the news for just a little while, when suddenly both of our phones' news alerts started going off. Breaking news. COVID-19 is a rapidly evolving global issue. The Government of Canada will do everything necessary to protect the health, safety, and well-being of Canadians, and is working around the clock to limit the spread of this pandemic. This is a critical time, and our top priority remains the safety and security of all Canadians. We request that all Canadians avoid non-essential travel outside of the country until further notice. Canadian travels return to Canada via commercial means while they still remain available. All travelers to Canada self-isolate for 14 days upon entry, with exceptions for workers who are essential due to the movement of goods and people. We watched the entire 45-minute conference to ensure we received all the information, and one fact stood out. We were at least 11 hours away from Manila, the only airport likely to still have flights outbound. It became clear to both of us at the same time. It was time to leave. As soon as the live conference ended, we went into problem-solving mode, trying not to panic and make the situation more laborious than it already was. The virus was spreading faster and faster, and changes were coming by the hour. This was serious, but we had yet to understand the scope of it.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?